Hi, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to animate a happy birthday balloon like this. I will first use keyframes to animate the balloon rising and use the noise modifier to make the balloon float. This tutorial was inspired by this part of my birthday video, which can be found in the video description below. Okay, so I have already created a scene for this, which you can download from the video description below. Let's head over to the scene output properties. I want to change the frame rate to 30, which is my favorite frame rate. And let's set the end frame to 300 because I want 10 seconds of animation. And now let's head over to our scene. And as you can see, we have a ribbon and a balloon. I want to parent the ribbon to the balloon. So let me select the ribbon and let me shift select the balloon. And let's hit Ctrl P on the keyboard and select Object Keep Transform. Next, I want to add an empty and parent the balloon to it. We will use the empty to animate the balloon. So I'm going to hit Shift A again, head over to empty and select plane axis. And now I want to move the empty right into the middle of the balloon. All right, so let's shift select the balloon and then let's hit Shift S and let's select selection to active. All right, so finally I want to parent the balloon to the empty. So let me select the balloon and then shift select the empty and hit Ctrl P and select Object Keep Transform. All right, next I'm going to animate the empty moving up and rotating into position. So first let's head over to frame 0. I'm already there. And then let's set the initial position of the empty. All right, so I'm going to move this down about 0.3 meters. So hit GZ minus 0.3. And let's rotate this about minus 60 degrees on the Z axis. So hit RZ and then minus 60. Great stuff. Now let me set a keyframe for this transform. So hit I on the keyboard and select location and rotation. Next, I want to head over to frame 80. And then I'm going to move the empty up. So hit GZ about 1.2 meters. So type 1.2. And let's set the rotation back to 0. And let's hit I on the keyboard. And let's set a keyframe for the location and rotation. All right, now I'm going to test this out. So let me head over to frame 0 and let me play this. And as you can see, the balloon rises up slowly, but after rising, it remains static. So now we are going to animate a floating or add a floating motion to the balloon. All right, to do this, I'm going to make use of the noise modifier. So first of all, let me add another area and let me change this to the graph editor. Let's increase the height of this a bit. I want to bring all the channels for this, and I want to get rid of the X and Y location because I'm not going to be animating on these channels. So hit X to get rid of them. And let's select the Z location, hit N to bring the sidebar, and let's head over to modifiers and click on add modifier and choose noise. Next, I'm going to set the value for the scale to 100 and then set the strength to 0.250. I have already experimented with these values, so they work quite well for me. And next, I want to restrict the frame range. I want the F modifier to begin on frame 55. So let's set this to 55. And I want the F modifier to last for the entire animation. So let's set this to 300. And let's blend the beginning of the F modifier to a value of about 40. And I want to now copy this F modifier. So let's copy it and let's paste this right into the Z rotation. So I'm going to hit paste. And then I want to increase the strength to a value of 0.5 and then set the scale to 60. And let's hit copy again. And let's select the Y rotation and let's paste. And I want to reduce the strength here to 0.1. And let's copy this again. And let's select the X rotation. And let's paste this here. All right, so now let's play the animation and check this out. And so I'm going to hit play. But first, let's go to frame 0 and hit play. And as you can see, the balloon rises up slowly again, but this time it begins to float around, unlike the first situation where it just remains static. All right, now it is time to do a viewport rendering. And I'm going to set up a camera and some few lights. And so let's head over here and then let's add a new 3D viewport. And let me hide the show overlays. And let me set the viewport shading to rendered. And let me hide the sidebar. And let's hit 0 on the numpad to go to the camera view. And let me zoom in a bit. All right, now we want to set up our camera to face the balloon. So I'm going to head over to the top view in this viewport and let's look for the camera. Here is it. Let's select it and set the Z rotation to 0. And let's set the X rotation to 90. And let's set the X location to 0 and the Z location to a value of about 1.2. All right, now as you can see, the camera is facing the balloon. Okay, so let's move this a bit closer. So hit Gen Y. And I think this is okay. All right, now it is time to set up our lighting. Let's select this light over here and let's move it closer to the right side of the balloon. And then I'm going to move it down a bit. So hit GZ. And let's reduce the strength of the light to about 300 watts. Let's give it a little bit stronger light. And let's now duplicate this light to create another one on the left. So I'm going to hit Shift D and move it about here. And let's move this down, GZ. And let's reduce the strength to a value of about 150. And I think this looks quite cool. All right, now let's head over to the View menu and let's select Viewport Render Animation. And since this will take a while, I'm going to fast forward until it finishes rendering. All right, our viewport has finished rendering. So I'm going to close this window and let's head over to the render menu and let's select View Animation to view the result of our render. And let's give this time to cache. All right, this looks great, but for me, I think the ribbon is a bit rigid. And so in my next video, I will show you how to add a cloth simulation to the ribbon. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell notification to be alerted when I release a new video.